Hello, today let us start with a new concept of object-oriented programming, which is known as polymorphism. So, polymorphism is a word that came from two Greek words, which is poly means many and morphs means forms. So, many forms. So, if a method is performing or a variable is performing multiple operations, then it is known as polymorphism. If, for example, a single method can perform multi operations, that is known as polymorphism. If an object or method perform different behavior according to situation, it is called as polymorphism. This is the exact descriptions of polymorphism in object-oriented programming. There are mainly three polymorphism methods which will be discussed today. So one is method overloading and method overriding and operator overloading. So method overloading. Method overloading is one of the method where a single method can performing multiple operation. So we can go one by one. So there are mainly three polymorphism methods. They are method overloading, method overriding, and operator overloading. So let us discuss one by one. So let us take a method overloading first. So what is method overloading? A method overloading is the method of defining more than one method with the same name inside the same class. So we are defining two methods with the same name inside the same class. So this is exactly the method overloading. But Python doesn't support this method overloading. But we can achieve method overloading in Python by following certain conditions. But in Python, a method is defined in a class in such a way that it can perform more than one task to show that Python can support method overloading. This is the case 1, and in case 2, in Python, method overloading can be achieved with the help of default arguments. So we have discussed these default arguments in the functions. Like we have four types of actual arguments. One is keyword positional arguments, default arguments, keyword arguments, variable length arguments. We have discussed these set of arguments in the functions. So try to have a look of these default arguments. So before going into method overloading. So it will help you to understand what exactly, how exactly the Python works to support method overloading. Now let me go to the code editor and perform an example to show how method overloading works. Method overloading.py. So here I will define a class. So class A. So let us take class A itself the name, and I will define a function def is. So self will be the first parameter for an class and a comma b. So I will print a comma b. So as I said, method overloading can be only achieved in Python with the help of default arguments. So whenever we define some arguments, formal arguments in the function, we should need to give its default values, which is none, none. So even though if you didn't pass any of the data to these variables, then the following none data type will be considered and the following thing will be printed. So it doesn't affect any of your program. So I will create an object. Object is equal to, so class A. Then with the help of object 1, I will call this disp function. So here I will pass values as 4, 6 first. Then I will print it. So on running this program, I will get an output as 4, 6. You could able to see. So for a single method, I am performing this object function call with the help of object, and I will pass again object 1 dot disp. I won't pass any of the arguments. So if I run this, I'm getting the output as none, none. So here a same method which is performing multiple operation. So even though if I'm passing arguments, actual arguments, it's giving me output as the given values. But even though if you are not passing any of the values, the default value will be considered in it, and hence it's giving the output as none, none. So and again, if I try to print object 1 dot disp 5, if I only pass 5 as the argument, then it is again giving me output as 5 and none. So here a single function or a single method which is performing multiple operation based on the arguments. Hence, Python supports method overloading only by achieving with the help of default arguments. With the help of default arguments, Python supports method overloading. So this is the explanation of method overloading. That's all. Let us start with method overloading. Method overriding. So if you write any method in the both the classes, then parent class and child class, then the parent class method is not available to the child class. So for example, if you have two classes where you are writing a methods in both the classes, then a parent class method won't be available for the child class. In this case, only child class method will be accessible, which means child class method is replacing the parent class method. So hence method overriding is used when programmer want to modify the existing behavior of the method. So this is the explanation of method overriding. I will try to explain with an example. Method overriding.py. So here, let me create a class A. So in this, I will define a function self. Print student A. So this is my class A. So I will create another class B, and I will this is the derived class from class A. I will call class A inside this. So you will be understanding this concept in inheritance. Now just assume that this is class A, this is class A and this is class B. Inside this class B, I'm accessing class A. Now, if I try to define a function def show again here, find a function here, then we have a method or a function which is show, which is available both in class A and class B. So this class B will be the derived class from class A because class A has been used as an argument in the class B. Now if I try to create an object, so object 1 is equal to class B, then if I try to access the function, so I will get an output as student B. Here what happening is, so this method is overwriting the parent method. So the derived class method is overwriting or replacing the parent class method. Hence this is known as method overriding. So I will just try to brief out here. We have defined a class called class A. Inside that we have defined a function or defined a method which is known as show, and we have printed as student A, and again we have defined and one more class B. So this class B is a derived class of class A because class B uses an argument class A. So if I add a class A as an argument for class B, then it is known as derived class. Here also I am defining a method show and I am printing it as student B. When I called an object class B and I could able to access the method of show with the help of object 1, I'm getting only the method of derived class which is class B, and it is completely replacing the method of class A. So this method is known as method overriding. Let us start with operator overloading. So operator overloading, which is a method of polymorphism where you need to perform a multiple operation with the help of single operator. So what exactly it defines is, if an operator performs additional action other than what it meant for, it is called as operator overloading. So I will try to take a simple example in order to explain this operator overloading. Now let us move into code editor. Operator overloading. So let me define a variables a is equal to 4 and b is equal to 5 and st1 is equal to 5 and st2 is equal to Naveen. So these are my 4 variables where 4 and 5 has been assigned to A and B, and st1 and st2 has been assigned to Hi Naveen. So let me do an additional operation for these things. So print A plus B, print st1 plus st2. So here we are making use of additional operator in order to perform the summation on all the variables. Now let us see what happens. So here in the first case it is doing the summation, where plus operator is meant to do the summation between the integers. 4 plus 5 is 9. But in case of st1 and st2, here we have two strings, which is st1 and st2. By using additional operator, we are doing the concatenation process. Hence, this is the operator overloading method, where a single additional operator can be used for perform additional operation like summation and concatenation also. Hence, this method is known as operator overloading. So that's all with an operator overloading method. So we have completed the polymorphism with all the 3 major concepts, which is method overloading and method overriding and operator overloading. So that's all for the day. Thank you.